Definitely. When it comes to our identity, or when it comes to the Muslim community, we definitely have two different concerns. For example, um, when I go to the other Muslim communities from different nationalities, and when I go to the Black community, they have two different concerns. And the immigrant Muslim community who've been here for a while, their concern is more about getting more power, getting more money, uh, things pertaining to the government or local government for their concerns, right? Their concern might be, hey, we want you to change the district zone because now we live here and we're expanding to over here. How can you, ask politician, expand the zone or whatever, right? The zoning area. When I go to the African American Muslim community, their concerns is very totally different. Police brutality, no jobs, no work, or why brothers can't take care of their family. I mean, sometimes they don't even know why they have these issues. A lot of it's built into the social issues of Black Americans, but we definitely have two different concerns. I go to the Yemeni community. Their concern is more about how can they get more money for their business or expand their business. That's their whole concern.
Because we take Shahada doesn't mean that all of a sudden we're not we're not Black, and we're not perceived as Black by the rest of the world. You know what I mean?
But our peoples do think, the African American Muslims do believe that when they become Muslim that they're no longer Black and they don't have none of the Black social problems. When I came to Salafi Dawa back in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, when they heard me listen to a certain imam who was Black conscious, they would tell me, "Oh man, are you a Black nationalist?" When they hear me talking about Black people's issues, they would say, "Oh, you're a Black nationalist." So that goes into the next question here. Why does Black African American Salafis in particular, not excluding them, shy away from addressing Black social issues in the U.S.? They shy away from it.
I think some of it is due to training. I've trained in martial arts for a long time, and one thing that one of my teachers impressed upon me is the way you train is the way you fight. We lack applicable Islam from the people who are teaching us. If you can't figure out how to use Islam or how to use Islam to better your situation
or empower yourself,
it's not really doing you any good. It's going to become mechanical and routine and not have life if you don't know how to apply it to your reality. The Yemenis, the Saudis, the Asians, the Pakistanis, they know how to apply it to their life. They're taught from a young age. It's a part of who they are. But for us, it's not. And I think that's one of the reasons why some of the du'at maybe shy away, because they may not necessarily know how to apply it. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that perfectly.
I think there's also, they don't want to be viewed as that deviant. They don't want to be that mubtadi'a who's talking about race, because there is no racism in Islam.
In Islam. That's one of the labels they threw at Shadid Muhammad, and I believe also they did throw that Black nationalist term at Muhammad Munir, right? Because he made a statement before, I think, in the night shift program. But they threw it at Shadid Muhammad Munir, I believe, and other brothers who talk about Black social issues that every Black American, whether you Muslim or Christian, with all of us face. But in the Salafi community, only see this. The neo-Salafi community, SP, that if you talk about Black social issues, white supremacy, doing things inside the Black community to fix social problems, they label you as a Black nationalist. But when I look at Saudi, the Kingdom of Saudi, Saudi Arabia, which many of them who learn Salafi are from, many of them who study Islam in their universities or from their scholars, Saudi Arabia takes part with the Arab League, right? And the Arab League deals with all the social issues of the Arab nations and even the African nations who's part of the Arab League. But they deal with economical issues. They deal with poverty. They deal with social problems, health problems. When I learned Arabic in Egypt, I learned Arabic from Kitab al-Asasi, right? And Kitab al-Asasi teach you Arabic. You learn about the Arab social problems and what the Arab government did, including Saudi government, to improve the life of the Arab Muslims and Christians and Jews. Because, you know, you have Arab Christians and Jews in the Muslim countries, in the Arab Muslim countries. But the neo-Salafi, or those who claim to follow Salafi thought, that area or that genre or that section, if I talk about black social problems, they'll label me as a Ikhwani or a black nationalist. But Saudi government participates in the Arab League. We're not going to say that the Saudi government are Arab nationalists. We're not going to say that. Saudi universities also teach politics, Islamic politics that deals with Arab social problems. But
you can't. It's almost like, and I've said this before, we're taught compartmentalized Islam. We talk about the Quran, we talk about the Sunnah, we talk about Tawheed, we talk about the books, we talk about the Hadith and the Sahaba, but never how to apply that information to poverty, to police brutality, to institutional and systemic oppression. It seems like it's almost like there's a Eurocentric or a European approach to when it comes to us. There's a separation between quote unquote church and state. Islam is over here. Islam doesn't talk about black politics. Islam doesn't talk about black issues that pertain to us, things that are important to us, things that make our level of life low.
Here's a good example then. A recent incident in Philadelphia, Germantown Masjid in Philadelphia, right? Sunnah Nabawiyah, Masjid Sunnah Nabawiyah in Germantown. The Imam Hassan Somali, who is from UK, they had a shooting around the area of Germantown Masjid.
Yeah,
not one time, 2 times. One of the incidents, the Imam had to save one of the victims. You see the blood in the street.
Yeah,
but when you look at the social issues going on in Germantown, right there on the block of their masjid, the same Muslims who label peoples, black Muslims who talk about black social issues, when they deal with it, they label you as black nationalists. But now that violence, the things pertaining to systemic racism, the things pertaining to police brutality, the things related to black on black crime, which is due to black people not having finances and not money. Now it's in the doorstep. They don't know what to do. They don't have none of the solution. They don't know how to take the Islam and change the whole neighborhood. But these are the same Muslims who are going to label somebody like myself or yourself from talking like this as black nationalists. But where they live right there in Germantown, right there on the block of their masjid, it's everything pertaining to systemic racism, black social issues. They live in it, and they are victims of it themselves. I just wanted to get that out there.
The community, Islam should be transformative to the community, not just for the people that are inside the doors of the masjid. It should be transformative to the community. If all you're doing is getting out of your car and running into the masjid, running out of the masjid, jumping back in your car and driving away, you're not fulfilling your obligation. You have to get in the hood and help deal with these issues. Now, one thing that I will say, we went through a serious period of time where, like we both agree, these issues have not even been discussed. And if you did bring them up, I found Salafia in the 90s. You know, so I came up in that era when it was sweet for a while. It was sweet, and then it went bonkers, man. It went crazy. Now we're having more African American graduates who are conscious of the situation, and I really feel like they're putting forth effort to sort of address some of these issues. You know, you mentioned the brother Muhammad Munir. I believe he has a counseling service. I could have sworn that I've seen a counseling service.
I've seen him on his website. I've seen it, yes.
So he has a counseling service. I've heard lectures from Imam Muslim Family Center. I've heard lectures and seen actually some of the work that Sheikh Tahir is doing in his community.
And their center also has a free healthcare clinic.
I don't know where it's at right now, and I really can't get into it, but people can say what they want. Sheikh Tahir is getting down. Sheikh Tahir is making changes in his community. He's not just getting on the minbar and talking and then, all right, Salam alaikum, and going back to the big house. You know what I mean?
That's right.
He's putting in some work, and some of the lectures that he does helps to change, or it gives people the tools that they need to sort of change their reality, as well as access to resources. You know what I mean? For those brothers that are in Philly, you know better than I the resources that Sheikh Tahir and his whole, you know, all of his affiliates are trying to do. I really can't talk on it too much for, you know, other reasons, but the point is that you have brothers who are trying to put in work, whereas before we were just hung out to dry as a collective. So in that regard, I have a bit of optimism that, you know, eventually, although the change may be minuscule, it may be very small, but, you know,
it's coming.
And it's going to snowball eventually.
Inshallah.
If they stay consistent, if the people join in and help and not just stand back and criticize.
That's right.
Because you're always going to have haters. You're always going to have haters. You know what I mean? That will look for any small reason to bring you down, to stop, you know, not looking at the big picture. Not looking at the big picture of the good that you're doing or that's being done in the community. For many, you know, many times I don't even think that's factored into the criticism that is, you know, leveled on these brothers.
I want to get something for the guests, something for you, right? And for the people who are following me. Anybody who's listening to this video, if you want to keep up with the brother Ustad Malik Muhammad, he definitely has a YouTube channel. And if you go to the description of this video, right? Because I can't see and I need my glasses. I put in the description of this video his YouTube channel. And if you click on his YouTube channel and the bottom of the description, by clicking on it, it will take you to the link for his YouTube channel, and you can subscribe that way. Actually, it's the link for subscribing. So all you got to do is click on the link of his video. The brother updates his YouTube channel all the time. He gives a lot of his talks already here, things he talks about. He also talks about that and plus more on his channel. And, you know, I'm really trying to promote the brother because a lot of Muslims do, you know, have a lot of questions about education. Islamic education, Islamic finances, you know, and your expertise in sociology also deals with a lot of the issues that a lot of African Americans we face.